我的爸爸不上大学课，因为高考以后，我的爸爸不喜欢学习。在东京大学，很多人不上课，他们的希望是去东京大学，可是他们不要学习。这不是中文，可是高考是东亚文化。他是工厂，可是他的工作是收人。他说，因为他不是学习在大学。
我的爸爸是军人，他上美国的军人大学了。在那个大学，他有很多的讨论课。他最喜欢历史课。美国的教育体制比中国的教育体制重视等级高，所以他换他的专业从工程到历史了。他很高兴了，因为他不喜欢工程，也他喜欢历史，因为他很高兴，他的等级很好了。
美国的教育体制和中国的教育体制不一样。在美国的学习，我们希望很多的讨论，我们跟学生和老师说话。我们希望历史课和英文课是讨论课。我们也上文化课的时候希望讨论。上科学课和数学课的时候，我们希望跟别的同学们联系。上美国学校的时候，学生们跟老师一起学习。
在中国的学校，我们期望很多的讲课，老师会教训我们，老师给我们很多的知识，我们应该听得好。我们没有讨论团队合作，因为我们有很多讲课，我们的教育体制比美国的教育体制有很多知识。讨论课还是讲课更好？我们不知道，但是我们想知道。
There are obvious cultural differences between China and America. If you look at the college system, for instance, the system of acceptance in China is purely based on the college entrance exam. It requires them to study as much as they can, and in essence, cram information. Perhaps lectures are the best way to do this, and maybe the only way to prepare the students well for these exams.
In America, the SAT is comparatively very easy. You don't need to spend hours learning 14 different subjects, and it tries to measure your aptitude rather than the amount of knowledge you have accumulated. The college process is very different too. The admissions officer system takes into account various other aspects of you as a person, with essays, interviews, and extracurriculars. Maybe discussions are essential for you to be successful in this respect, and that's what causes the discrepancy in our education system.
All know education is better than Chinese education. We have better facility. We have better education method. But what's Chinese education method? Do you know it? First, we have the university for 4 years, and undergraduate university for 4 years, and college for 3 or 4 years, I think. The teaching ideas, when we are 1 or 2 years old, we training the internal order and training the target based on focus. When we are 3 to 9 years old, training the reasonable protocol and training the target based on interest. When we are 9 to 12 years old, we training the logical thinking and training the target based on accuracy. When we are 12 to 21 years old, we're training the explosion of amplification and training the object based on the comprehension. So let's show you some small picture. And this picture said the Chinese student is studying maths and the Indian student is studying science. These are awesome science course, but what is American student do? They just take their iPhone, listen to music, and close the book. So that's a comprehension. You see it? Although American students play, but they get the same grades as we do. So I think that's their education. That's our education, but their education is better than us. 另外呢，在美国的高考，也就是所说的 SAT， 他们是侧重于你对于这个能力的掌握，并不是说像中国老师所说，每天要学习，每天要学习，我们必须学习。然后呢，实际上只要把这个能力掌握，它并不是很难，并不是在那儿用各种方法去考验你这个知识点是否掌握。而且美国的大学申请呢，它主要是依靠你的专访啊、课外活动等等，并不是像中国高考一样高低考并不是。谢谢。
Okay, imagine an old man is doing a research. He speaks very, very slowly, and you think you will die. Do you like it? I think answer is absolutely not. Yeah.
Look at two pictures. John Woodman said, a lecture is much more of a dialogue than you realize. There are many differences between China and America, and one of the differences is teaching style in China and America. And I think the important point is that a teacher-centered and a student-centered classroom. Sure, that's an important point, but I think the main point is that the different culture, yes, as we all know, Chinese roots all wrote. Chinese students complain, many Chinese students complain sketching their independent creativity and thought. So most of them evade the American system.
我们大家都知道，中国和美国，一个是高考，一个是 SAT， 这两个是非常不同的。为了应对高考，我们必须去听很多的课，做很多的笔记，在课上我们没有很多的活动。美国笔友在他们的 lecture 里讲到，他们很想知道中国和美国 SAT 和高考到底哪里不同，不同在哪里？走。
在中国有很多的学生会去美国留学，原因呢就是美国的大学要比中国的大学好上很多，其中教育的设施是不可或缺的一部分。正是因为美国的很多教育设施比中国的要好，所以美国的大学教育才比中国好。下面是一些中国实验室的图片。在中国，这样的实验室已经称得上是不错的实验室，但是仍然存在着很多的缺陷，比如说， 一些实验室的管理不当，会造成环境的污染，甚至会伤及学生。而让我们下面让我们来看一看美国的实验室是什么样子。比如说这张。如果你觉得这还不够震撼的话，那么我还有这张图片，甚至是这张。Believe it or not, students in America can do this kind of experiments. It's obvious that American facility is more advanced than Chinese. That's the difference between an experiment can practice the students' practical skill, and when students do an experiment, they can learn a lot of knowledge from it. Facility of the education is really important, and American facility of education is more advanced than Chinese. So that's why the American university is better than Chinese. If a student can only read books and can't do any experiments, the students will be incomplete about the ability, because the experiment is the most important skill for students. And in my opinion, China should improve the quality of the facility. I hope the government will pay more attention to the facility of the education. It's very important, and it can improve the quality of the education.
So to test our hypothesis, we asked around 40 students a series of questions to determine whether discussions or lectures helped them in a variety of subject areas. And we split the two groups into 10th and 11th graders and 12th graders and postgraduate students to see if there was a difference when it came to age and grade. The first question we asked was, do you prefer lectures or discussion-based classes? As you can see in the charts, 10th and 11th graders were roughly 50-50, a little bit more towards discussion, while 12th graders and PGs were overwhelmingly discussion biased. And the next question we asked, which classes should use lectures and which classes should use discussions? Both 10th and 11th graders and 12th graders, both groups of 10th and 11th graders and 12th graders and PGs unanimously agreed that literature classes should be taught in discussion sessions. In history, 10th and 11th graders believed they should all be in discussion, whereas 12th graders and PGs believed it should be about 60% discussion and 40% lecture. When it came to math classes, almost everyone agreed that it should be lecture-style classes, where the 10th and 11th graders, around 90% of them believed it should be lectures and 10% discussion, while with 12th graders and PGs, it was only around 5% who thought that it should be discussion. When it comes to science classes, it's very similar to math classes, with about 5% discussion based for 12th graders and PGs, and around 10-15% discussion based for 10th and 11th graders. When it came to language classes, 10th and 11th graders, around 70% of 10th and 11th graders believed it should be discussion, and 30% believed it should be lecture, while 12th graders and PGs believe that 60% of 12th graders and PGs believe that it should be discussion, while 40% believe it should be lecture.
So the next question we ask the students is, which is more important, quantity of information or the quality of understanding? So essentially, if you would want to learn more, or if you would want to learn less but understand deeper. So the 10th and 11th graders all thought that quality was more important than quantity. And we asked the 12th graders and PGs, and that was a little more split, but the majority of students said quality was more important. So we asked the students, do lectures help prepare you for standardized tests? And most students, as you can see, said that lectures prepare students for standardized tests, but interestingly enough, 12th graders and PGs, so the older students, thought that around half of them thought that they wouldn't. We also asked which type of class helps you better understand information, lectures or discussions. The results were similar across all the grades in that a majority of students thought that discussions would help students understand information better. But interestingly enough, lectures also, some students thought lectures help understand information better than discussions did. We can't say which education system is better, but we can definitely see what current students want in different classes and see if they prefer lectures or discussions. Go on to discuss China and America. Talk about college and further education afterwards, like how the education and culture affect each other. When it comes to learning in China, knowing more information is much more important than understanding what you know. As we demonstrated earlier, most students believe that understanding the information they are taught is much more important to them than cramming more information. However, China's heavy emphasis on the Gaokao and the culture surrounding it forces students to focus more on cramming this information into their heads without really understanding what they're taught. Chinese students even have a description of how detached their teachers are when they teach, quote, feeding the ducks.
This detached form of learning is obviously a problem, and the Chinese government knows it. The Chinese Ministry of Education said that the systemic fixation with testing, open quote, severely hampers student development as a whole person, stunts their healthy growth, and limits opportunities to cultivate social responsibilities, creative spirit, and practical abilities in students. Discussion-based classes bring students and teachers together in the classroom. They engage the student's entire brain and teach him or her to develop his or her own thoughts and opinions and how to justify them. Lectures help to transfer large amounts of information from a teacher to a large group of students, but discussions truly solidify that information and convert it to actual knowledge instead of just facts. The real solution to this problem is to actually have a discussion amongst people and not just a lecture from me to you.